Hello everyone and welcome to Game 3 in a series between MVP Tails and TSL's Hyun here on Antigua Shipyard. Hyun so far having an impressive 2-0 lead in this series, and we'll see whether or not this series will continue or what is going to be going down, or if I cast these games out of order. Hopefully I did not, as the games do get underway. Tails has spawned here as the orange Protoss at what I will call the 8 o'clock position. Meanwhile, TSL's Hyun spawning as the blue Zerg at the 3 o'clock position. So orange versus blue. Tails changing up his colors. Same thing with Hyun this time, as Tails once more opens up with a forge fast expansion. Now, this is more of a stylistic difference in the placing of this pylon. I know some Protoss players opt to build the pylon closer to the minerals, utilizing that nexus as part of the wall. Some players try to build that pylon a little bit more forward. It will take an additional pylon to finish off this wall in, but then it does also give you the advantage that you have this ramp where Protoss players will have to kind of stick their head up in order to get anything down. Finally, we see Tails doing some early game scouting in this matchup, as he hasn't really scouted early on in the previous two. Hatchery is still mining away. It looks like Hyun may be going for a hatchery first here on Antigua Shipyard. And Antigua Shipyard, one of those maps where it is very easy to establish 3 bases, but very difficult for a Zerg player to establish that 4th, as this high or this center expansion or this expansion here are both expanding essentially towards your opponent, which Zerg players generally don't want to do. There is a pylon already down now, and double. The probe sitting there and now trying to back away once more. The probe just dancing in between these two locations. There is another pylon here, and Tails this time coming in with some very, very aggressive tactics. Drones now trying to come in as well. It looks as though there is going to be one photon cannon now warping in this one pylon, taking a lot of damage. And will this pylon finish warping in, or will it simply get cancelled? That is going to be the key question there. That pylon is going to finish, allowing and buying time for this photon cannon to finish. And wow, this one probe, what is it going to do? This one drone off over here, where is this guy going to go? Oh, he mineral paths his way out and builds a second pylon. This is huge. This pylon here is now trapping many of those drones, as the drones are all going to simply fall. We could see another photon cannon here. This photon cannon has gotten 3 kills so far, 4 kills, as another photon cannon coming in. So some very aggressive photon cannon play. And is it going to be enough, as this one drone is going to fall again? This photon cannon down to 18 hit points is going to try to attack back. Zerglings now coming over, unable to warp in anything here, so that is going to be a problem, as a new photon cannon is being added. 2 Zerglings now trying to make their way in. This photon cannon, they are going to be able to cover each other, but this is a huge, huge issue for Hyun. You can see that this one photon cannon is now going down. We are going to be seeing a gateway, and this one probe needs to scout out and see that the Zerglings are already coming across the map. There you go. There is one gateway here, and this photon cannon now with shields should be enough. We need to get another 150 resources. Is it going to be enough here? There it is, and there is one probe holding position. Is it going to get enough resources? I believe so. And there you go, that one probe trying to hold its own against all of those Zerglings. The Zerglings are going to take a lot of damage there. Another Zergling getting taken down. And oh, this could be very, very bad. The probes going to be trying to deal with what, 5, 6 Zerglings inside the base. One probe now being just scouted and taken down there, as we are now going to see a little bit of an engagement. This pylon most likely for some photon cannons. The probes now trying to engage. The hatchery has been destroyed on the other side of the map. Some Zerglings tried to take it down, unable to do so, or perhaps the broodlings did, as the probes are now pushing back. Harvester count 16 to 12, 15 to 12, as both sides. Oh, another worker taken down there. Harvester count, workers killed 12 to 7, but that does not show you the other story, as Tails does have the worker advantage, but more Zerglings just made their way inside the base again. The cybernetics core, this building was taken down here, and wow, that was a huge, huge play, as there is no photon cannon inside the main base. Zerglings engaging against all of these units here. More probes will fall, as the probes need to be microed away. Is a Zergling going to be able to deal any real damage? Going after the lower hit point probes, now once again pulling away, finishing off the rest of the Zerglings. Are we going to get another run by? Is the Zealot up on the high ground? The Zealot needs to get here, hold its ground, and that should be enough. Hatchery is being added off over here. The photon cannon is going to prevent any warping or any hatchery here, at least for a little while longer, as we now see perhaps a Nexus will be placed down by Tails. Wow, some really interesting openings here. It is now 17 probes to 19 drones, but Hyun doesn't look phased at all. And we already see that Tails does have 2 assimilators down. He is not really mining much gas from it, though. And with only 1 Zealot, what is his plans? It looks like he is going to be going for a faster Nexus in order to make sure he has a strong economy. Meanwhile, Hyun already setting up his second base, perhaps setting up his 3rd base in just a moment, but knowing that he's got some ways to go. Alright, 15 kills, 4 kills here, and Hyun now trying to just stay cool. He knows that he's not that far behind. He knows that he's killed a lot of workers, and he's actually ahead at this point, 36 supply to 29. Tech advantage does definitely belong to Tails, as Tails already has his Cybernetics core up with Warp Gate nearly completed. Meanwhile, the Speedlings are just now being added. What we could see is perhaps Zealots and just making their way inside here, and then having sentries force field the ramp. That would be a huge play, since you already have proxy pylons in position to warp in units. There aren't enough gateways though, and that would be a really risky maneuver by Tails, but it may just be enough of a risk or enough of a chance to pull out with that victory. Hyun currently sitting on a 34 to 26 probe advantage, training up 5 drones right now, and you're going to see his economy just continue to take off. And continue to take off as we now see a macro hatch come in, so Hyun could easily now move into roaches, something that's a little bit more larva intensive, but off of 2 bases he can afford to do so, and once he decides to pull the trigger. We are going into a robotics facility now. We can see that Tails currently just continuing to mine once more. Doesn't have any assimilators down over here. Tails is still behind. He cannot think that he is ahead. He just knows that his opponent is not running up on 3 bases, and with that he does have some comfort knowing that it is 2 bases to 2, but a 36 to 47 drone advantage for Hyun is gonna make it rather difficult for Tails. Robotics facility now being added, and if he goes for immortals, that would be a huge play. Immortals gonna be a perfect counter to those roaches, but now also going into a Twilight Council. We'll see what comes of this, and what the first unit will be coming out of that robotics facility, either an observer or an immortal, as we see that he's at 55 over 84 supply. Plenty of room in order to just warp in more and more units. Observer is being chrono boosted out. Roach is now making their way over. The Roach is going to be able to easily pick apart and take down the rest of these pylons. All the additional supply advantage that Tails had will quickly go out the window, making sure to take down all of the pylons without really losing anything to these photon cannons, making sure to take down the lower hit point cannon and then unpower the last pylon. So important play there, as Hyun still has about a 30 supply advantage. Overseer now flying overhead, more warp gates now warping in, and pretty much Hyun knows what is going on and will know when he needs to counter. As the gateways are up, we are going into level 2 weapons upgrade and going into Blink Stalker play once more. I don't know if I'm happy to see this play. It didn't work out in game 2, and Hyun now trying it once more in game 3. It might be one of those cautionary tales, as we now see Hyun continuing to train up more and more units. He's getting up 8 more drones, getting up that 3rd base as we mentioned earlier, and now already transferring some drones over well before that hatchery is completed. 60 drones compared to 54 probes. Not as big of a harvester advantage as I would have liked to have seen, as the Stalkers are going to be going up against those Immortals here in just a moment. Roaches are so easy for Zerg players to mass up, that even though Immortals do counter them, mass Roaches seem to just reach critical mass so quickly in getting past all of those hardened shields. Zealots and Sentries making their way over to finish off and clean up that Zergling. We are going to see the Roaches that do have 1-0 upgrades, soon to be 2-0 upgrades, going up against what will eventually be 2-0 Stalkers and Immortals. Really, those 2-0 upgrades are going to benefit the Immortals more, as the Immortals will be doing 10 additional damage per attack, as opposed to the Stalkers 2 additional damage per attack. The Roaches cleaning up all of these destructible rocks. Down they go. And oh, what is this? These mass Roaches could simply just walk in here with a 50 supply advantage and now just absolutely destroy all of these gateways. Yes, the gateways getting destroyed even before they could warp in anything. Are we going to see a cancellation? No, we are not going to see a cancellation there, as the photon cannon does get off a couple free shots, and now more gateways will once again be warped in. Stalkers and Immortals trying to engage. Here we go. There's the Guardian Shield and the force fields cleaning up a couple of Roaches who are out of position, and that's really what we need to see from Tails. Tails utilizing those sentries to split apart that Roach army. Roach is now coming back once more, engaging on the far side. Tails is going to be canceling all of these warp gates, no, only able to cancel one of them again, and this is not really working out, but we are going into 3-0 upgrades, and the more and more that we see Roaches, the more that Tails is going to heavily invest in Immortals. And if Hyun doesn't have a transition away from these Roaches, if he's relying too much on these Roaches will simply just melt away rather quickly. In come the Zerglings, and in comes the Roaches. The Roaches are trying to get off some easy shots here. Pylons are gonna... Nope, the Pylons do not get taken down, as the force field is doing more harm than good, preventing any sort of follow-up play, as the Roaches now trying to make their way back in. Are we going to get a Guardian Shield? There's some force fields. The Immortals may get taken down, and it does look like they are going to get taken down here, but some beautiful force fields preventing a lot of play. But now the Roaches now trying to make their way inside. We are going to get a couple of Roaches stuck off over here, and Hyun actually taking and losing a lot more than he probably would have liked to. And Tails now evening up the overall supply count, 118 versus 139. I know that's deceptive because there's 27 Roaches currently being added, and that was a huge play, a brilliant play by Tails to keep him in this game. The sheer number of sentries just saved him. Now, the problem is that he did lose a lot of his sentries, all of his sentries in fact, in that engagement, so he will not be able to repeat that. Let's take a look at the army composition. 2-0 upgrades, soon to be 3-0. More Immortals being added, and Hyun still training up more and more Roaches, which could be a problem. Hydralisk now being added. We are getting that level 3 weapons upgrade. We're moments away, about a minute away, perhaps 40 seconds away if there are 2 chrono boosts, as the Roaches are once again going to rinse and repeat that same strategy, trying to take down this back door. Stalkers blink their way forward and get off some easy shots onto some Roaches. I do believe one Roach fell, so losing 37 resources to take down one Roach, I guess that's an overall good trade. That probe is now stuck forever. Nope, decides not to reposition itself and now makes its way back out. Roaches are going to once again push their way in. This one gateway cannot get cancelled. One warp gate does fall, but I believe some Roaches were lost in that engagement as well, so not quite sure who came out on top there. This one, Stalker needs to blink down or blink away. No observers on the front door here, so Hyun pretty much attacking from any which side that he wants to. But Tails does have a slight advantage in terms of overall army composition. Defender's advantage as well, as the Roaches are now pushing their way in. Photon cannons, multiple warp gates will get taken down. The Stalkers are trying to blink their way forward. Stalkers have used up their cooldown. Immortals unable to really engage. Are they going to be able to take down these units, as the Hydralisks are very slow in Wings of Liberty? No movement upgrade at all. Zerglings now being added, And still, Hyun is just trying to use the same strategy over and over again. And is it going to actually work? Stalkers blinking their way forward. Here we go. Sentries are in here with Guardian Shield. The Stalkers need to be very careful. They're getting picked apart. Immortals are benefiting from that 6 range buff from a long time ago. And it looks as though Tails may actually come out ahead. The Hydralisk, though, doing a great job getting past a hardened shield on those Immortals. You can see that they are falling, but Hyun constantly just trying to flood in more and more units, crashing wave after wave. And I don't believe he knew how strong Tails was in his defensive position. It is 3 bases to 3 bases, no 4th base as of yet. So Hyun still looking to come back in. We still see more Zealots warping in. We now see about a 30 supply advantage for the Protoss. This back door here doesn't have anything up, but we are also transitioning into Colossi with extended thermal lance range, and that's exactly what Tails needs to do in order to counter those Hydralisks. The problem right now for Hyun is that Hyun still needs those Hydralisks to deal with the 4 Immortals that he did see. But if he invests too much into those Hydralisks are simply going to melt away at the hands of the Colossi, since the Colossi are dealing 42 damage per attack against Hydralisks that do tend to clump up. Oh, I love this play by Tails. You can see Tails moving out with a rather small group of Stalkers to take down these creep tumors. Now, the reason why he's only using this number of Stalkers, did the Changelings actually spot the Colossi? If the Changelings spot the Colossi, then Hyun knows that he doesn't need to train up any more Hydralisks. If he doesn't spot the Colossi and he trains up too many Hydralisks, the Hydralisks will win out, as we are going into Ground Armor 2. Ground Armor 2, obviously giving 3 armor to the Protoss army here. We are going to see an engagement. There is only 1 Colossus in this engagement. There are no Corruptors. Hydralisks are going to try to make their way and push their way forward. 1 Colossus does easily fall, but a second one quickly takes its place, as Hyun does give perhaps a little bit of a premature GG, as Tails now fights his way back into the series. He is currently down 2-1 as we go into Game 4. Now, if you guys are looking for Game 4 and you guys follow me daily, it will be a little bit delayed. I'm on my way to see a doctor. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.